My fellow Cameroonians, it has always been my conviction that God put us together as a nation for a reason. Until we discover the purpose of our common existence, our coexistence will always be in perils. As we enter into this new year 2017, I would want us to take a moment of deep reflection into the state of our nation and to see how we can contribute to make it even better for future generations. Events of the recent past months, during which some of our fellow citizens of the Northwest and Southwest regions lost their lives, call on all of us to search in our souls as we respond to the facts that led to the unnecessary loss of these lives. I too, like the majority of Cameroonians, was plunged in utmost disbelief when I heard Mr. Biya, during his New Year's speech, treat citizens of his own country as militant extremists comparable to the violent terrorists of Boko Haram. I keep wondering to myself what could be extreme about unarmed individuals who are exercising their constitutional rights to peacefully demonstrate against a system that they believe to be at the origin of their impoverishment. What is extreme about people asking for a better way of life through an education system that is adapted to the demands of this new age global economy that is characterized by technological innovations? What is extreme about a people standing for their rights to have a judicial system that is accessible to everyone, independent of their ability to communicate or not in any one of our official languages inherited from our colonial past? Yes, what is extreme about farmers, students, teachers, civil servants, and private sector entrepreneurs of this bountifully blessed land of ours, demanding for an adequately responsive healthcare system and a road network that will enable people and businesses to interconnect safely? What is extreme about people demanding for a federal system of government with its well-established merit of bringing the government close to the governed, thereby reinforcing the capacity of people to hold the government accountable as intended by the framers of our constitution that states in its Article 2 that the sovereign power of the nation belongs to the people of Cameroon? In the Cameroon that I dream of, all these demands would constitute fundamental rights that the government must guarantee to the people of Cameroon. Maybe the problem is with those of us who are slow in understanding that we are dealing with a dictator whose mindset has not yet been emancipated from the old school of Western imperialism in Africa that was predicated on the belief that Africans are like brutes that don't deserve to pursue a lifestyle of freedom that is reserved to a select class of civilized people. Now, let no mistake be made. I don't intend to say that there are no extremists in Cameroon. I know where you can find one. That extremist that I know of is Mr. Biya, and you may be lucky to find him in a Tudi where he spends some of his time when he is not in Geneva, Switzerland, where he spends most of his time. Isn't he an extremist? He who in 1982 inherited a thriving middle-class income country and in less than 5 years plunged it into the extreme abyss of the structural adjustment program and then moved on to degrade the country as a heavily indebted, poor country. Isn't he an extremist? He who inherited a country with a solid financial system that included establishments such as Cameroon Bank, the National Producing Marketing Board, that he liquefied in the extreme blazes of liquidation. So if you look well, there will be no doubt that the extremist that all Cameroonians should be concerned about is Mr. Biya. My fellow compatriots, As we are confronted with the grievous offense that the Biya regime has caused to our ability to enjoy the divine gifts of freedom and happiness, we have no other choice but to act, and act promptly if ever we want to reverse course from the horrible destination of which 34 years of Biyaism has stirred our collective destiny. To this end, we must build a society that will be governed by the rule of law. We must establish a system of government that will guarantee the separation of powers between the judiciary, legislative, and executive branches. We must reinforce the capacity of the governed to be involved in the management of state affairs. And to this end, we would have to throw in the might of all our efforts to give to our country a federal system of government which is hailed by many constitutional experts as the most potent tool that the people can use to hold their government accountable. We must liberate our economy from neo-imperial subjugation and establish a national currency that will guarantee us a predictable monetary policy. We must build a self-sustainable economy that will adopt the positive aspects of the free market economy while offering protection to the most vulnerable constituents of our society through a well-designed social network of programs. We must pursue a robust policy of industrialization that will improve our capacity to obtain the best value from the natural resources that God Almighty has blessed us with. We must encourage and promote private entrepreneurship to be the driving force of our economic growth. Government cannot force itself as a solution to all our problems. I believe that our private sector entrepreneurs can do a better job of growing our economy than government officials. In Cameroon, government officials don't know how to make rational economic decisions. We all know that if you take 75 billion francs CFA and give to an extremist government official like Paul Biya, he will tell you that the best way to invest the money would be to import 500,000 computers to distribute to students. But if you take that same amount of 75 billion and put in the hands of private entrepreneurs, they would seek how to maximize the long-term impact of that money on the economy, maybe by investing in the creation of 500 startup businesses with initial capitals of 150 million francs CFA. Yes, I mean 500 investments with initial capitals of 150 million francs CFA. Can we all dream of the number of tangible jobs that will be created by such a move? My fellow compatriots, we have all the right to dream the dream of making our nation a great nation in the concert of nations. It was such a dream that animated the true fighters of the liberation of our country like Nyobe, Osende Afana, Felix Roland Mumier, Enes Wanji, and Zacharias Abendo, who stopped at nothing in their quest to build a truly great Cameroonian nation. No one sacrifices their lives for what they don't believe in. I want to tell Mr. Paul Biya that he has not earned the esteem to lay claim on the heroism of our founding fathers who sacrificed their lives for our nation, because he represents the embodiment of everything that our historic heroes fought against. Our heroes never sacrificed their lives so that more than 50 years after independence, we would still be bound by the shackles of an imperialist currency known as France CFA. Our heroes never sacrificed their lives so that more than 50 years after independence, we would still be running behind financial institutions of imperial hegemony like the International Monetary Fund with its structural adjustment programs that don't fit any of our needs. Those who cast doubt on our ability to rise as a great nation don't know where to look. You can see the potential of our greatness in our youth who dominated the world with Olympic gold medals in 2000, 2004, and 2008. You can see the potential of Cameroon's greatness in the achievements of an astronaut like Dr. Ernest Simo, who was a finalist to NASA's astronaut selection process in 1994 and 1996. And even better, you can see the potential of Cameroon's greatness in everyday Cameroonian parents who have to make difficult choices to continue to invest in the lives of their children, even when the prospect of a favorable return on their investment remains gloomy because of the inconsiderate actions of a government that has sown seeds of despair and hopelessness in every area of our economic development, where the government alone can be responsible. Let us all be reminded that in this long struggle to make our nation great, our battles are not the first, nor shall they be the last. However, we have to stand for Cameroon with all our might, as if the rest of the struggle depended on us alone. To those who believe that we are a nation of cowards, I would tell them that our true history tells a different story. This is the story of hundreds of thousands of patriots who were massacred in the Bamileke and Bassal lands by French Imperial Armed Forces in the 1950s and 1960s. These patriots were killed not because they did not enjoy living. Instead, they loved to live and wanted the freedom to live their lives as people who were truly free from Western imperialism. In like manner, freedom and dignity are the greatest aspiration of this generation of Cameroonians. I want to remind our friends and foes alike that no sacrifice will be too great for us to pay for our freedom. We would seek for freedom through peace, through toil, and through sweat and blood, and let no mistake be made. We shall never surrender until we get it. And to my brothers and sisters of West Cameroon who may be misled by the atrocities of the Ayijo and Biya regimes to think that Cameroon has failed us, I have this to tell you. Cameroon has not failed us. It is the government of Mr. Biya that is failing us. Let us deliberately summon the rest of our brothers of East Cameroon to join us in this struggle to build a perfect union of federated states that will guarantee a better life, not just for us, but for future generations. My fellow compatriots and comrades, Happy New Year 2017. God bless you, and God bless Cameroon.